This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you if people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else? Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.
Getting the smile and confidence you've been dreaming about, all from the comfort of your home, isn't a total mystery with Byte clear aligners. Just don't be surprised if all your friends start asking, "What's your secret?" Begin by ordering your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95. Byte clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer flexible financing, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
Hello, welcome. Let's chat. It's hard. You want to talk? I know, that's disappointing. Sit back. Let's work this out. How's it going? What are we doing here? Where are you going? Hey there. Wow. It's not always easy. It's amazing if you think about it. Let's think about this. Strange. I have some thoughts about that. Life is hard. Trauma bonded.
Okay, T. We're back together again.
Hello.
First of all, sorry that we've been gone for 2 weeks. We rearranged according to what This Is Actually Happening was doing, and because Whit had a medical emergency, we took 2 weeks off, basically. Well, that's not true. The first week of it, remember, we released the Todd Rennenbaum episode from Bunny Hugs and Mental Health, so we encourage you to go listen to that. Hi, Todd. Great person, wonderful guy, wonderful interview. And then last week we're just lazy. T had to work.
Wow.
Whatever it was. Anyways, we're back and we have a special episode because the storyteller this week, as you all know by now, was Whit himself, creator and host of This Is Actually Happening, telling us his story. And what's really interesting about this, we would never do Whit's story on This Is Actually Happening at this point.
You'd pre-interview him and be like,
we'd be like, this happened 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
No. Call us in a year. Yeah.
You know what, though? I think he's got the in. Right?
He has an in, but
Nepotism, am I right?
Oh, it's my show. I do whatever I want. I break all the rules. Yeah.
Love you, Whit.
It's been hard to going through the editing of the episode and everything and just talking it through, what we want the episode to be. It is a bit confusing because he breaks one of our most cardinal rules for storytellers, is we want people to be some time away from their experience so that they have perspective and they come away with some broader idea of what it was they really went through and all of the stuff that comes after that. And Whit kind of talks to that in this recording. So
do you guys have rules?
We
set
do.
rules.
We do.
So that was one of the. Are there others?
It's a loose rule. This isn't some corporation where we write this stuff down. This is a pretty organic process in how we build the show. But that is generally a rule. We would never take Whit's story when This Is Actually Happening.
But you did.
But we did.
Maybe we could interview him.
That would be cool.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
I'll see if I can get a hold of him.
He's a busy guy.
Yeah. That's a good intro.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't know that was the intro.
That was the intro.
Cool. I like it.
Okay.
I like that. We would never.
Yeah, we would never.
Take a story. That's nice.
Welcome to Trauma Bonded. I'm Elly Westberg here with Therese Garcia in the flesh.
Hey!
And today we're discussing This Is Actually Happening, episode 308. What if they couldn't wake me up? Mysterious. And just a quick synopsis. Creator and host of the show, This Is Actually Happening, Dr. Whitney Missildine, our dear old friend, fell into some sort of half coma and was unresponsive for 5 hours. During that time, he slept like the dead, recalling nothing, but the hours and days afterward, he went through many emotions and felt lifted up and guided because of the storytellers and audience of the popular podcast, This Is Actually Happening. This is really a love letter to the show itself. And full disclosure, I am the showrunner for This Is Actually Happening, and T knows nothing about anything. She comes in fresh. And this show, Trauma/Bonded, is for the listeners, a space where we can talk about each episode, digest it, and reflect on it with empathy and also a bit of levity. That's Trauma Bonded. T, what stuck out to you as the heart of Whit's story?
The heart of the story for me, I think I could distill in one word. Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he woke up. We're very happy about that. But throughout his experience afterwards, he had an awakening of sorts.
Can I just interject real quick?
Of course.
That's really magical, actually, because we kind of had a lot of discussion around what we would call the episode. And you made the heart of your story awakening before you knew what the title was.
Oh, what is the title?
The title, if you recall what I just said, is What If They Couldn't Wake Me Up?
Oh.
Because waking works
right.
on different levels, like you're going to explain with your one-word heart. So I think that's really like kismet.
Oh, yeah.
And like kind of confirmation that we went in the right direction with the title.
Good. Oh, thanks. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. But you're right. But when you said, what if they couldn't wake me up? We're all thinking about just the unconscious to conscious transition, right? And then what was your heart of the story, Elly?
This was a difficult one for me because it really happened. Like I'm in this circle in this world that keeps referring back to. So to me, it was less about his story and more like listening to him tell the story. I just felt so close to him because I felt like I almost lost my friend and colleague, and we'll talk about this later, but not to trivialize it at all, but in the moment, your mind goes so many places and you're like, what's going to happen with the show? What's going to happen with Trauma Bonded? Like Whit, he talks about this in the episode, like he means a lot to a lot of people and he's our good friend. We've been friends with him for years. But yeah, there's also this bigger question of what do we do from here if we lose him? So
yeah, he's the center of the experience.
Yeah.
But everyone else is having their own.
But then, and also literally the center of not my world, but a lot of systems in my world.
Yeah.
And also, knowing that what he went through and how he accessed all of these stories that he's done over the years, and it being a love letter to the show. That's really what the heart of the story is about. Yeah. And I hope that was clear in the This Is Actually Happening episode. And that's why we let him through. That's why we let him tell a story.
Oh.
Because he's really talking about his experience of creating and doing the show, but also the many gifts that the storytellers and the audience have given to him. Let's get into it.
It is weird, I'll just say.
Yeah.
This story and it being Whit. It's Whit.
It's Whit.
We're talking about Whit.
Yeah.
Our friend Whit.
Yeah. Last time was Donna. We don't know Donna.
Yeah.
It's our friend Whit. Yeah.
It's our friend Whit.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And we're getting into ages when we're going to start losing people. I mean, I don't know. That's probably we're too young for that. But, people will start experiencing maybe health scares, etc.
We are losing people. We have lost people.
I've lost like my dad, but we lost Kyle this year. Yeah. Yeah. It's happening.
It is happening.
This is actually happening. Fuck you guys. Okay. Depressing. Who do you think is going to go first, me or you?
I'm thinking me.
Really?
You're pretty healthy.
Well, that's nice.
I mean, genetics-wise,
you're eating your apple a day?
I stopped. I did it every day in January, and then...
Oh, it was just for January? Did you hate it?
No, I loved it, actually.
Then why'd you stop?
I just forget. And then I'm like, I gotta do that tomorrow, and then I forget again.
Okay.
But if I did my little circle thing, I would do it every day.
But see, at least you go to the doctor. I don't go to the doctor. I could have all kinds of stuff in.
Oh, you gotta go to the doctor.
I know.
I know you don't go to the dentist. Sorry to call you out.
Dentist is expensive.
But I'm just saying you should go to the doctor.
No, I know. I know.
One time.
I know, but I don't want to know.
Guys, trauma bonded fans, let's encourage Elly to go to the doctor.
Oh my gosh.
We're talking about this.
I know my body if I feel something.
I know my body. Whit's a doctor.
Okay.
And this happened.
Well, let's all go to the doctor.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to start by kind of talking about like my experiencing of finding out about all of this. Like, is that cool?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, Whit was gone all of January, as he says in the episode. And, we had very little contact because like where he was on the other side of the world, it's like today here is tomorrow there. Like it's so weird to think about the time difference. So he talks about how he felt ill that Thursday. Well, that Tuesday prior, he and I had a meeting and we just like talked about, the show and everything that was happening. Fine, good, had a plan, upcoming plan. And then Thursday night at about 11 o'clock, I tend to put my phone on sleep mode a lot, so I'm not bothered by it, but I'm still checking it. And I saw that I had a voicemail from Naomi, his wife. And I was like, that's weird. Like, did she butt dial me or something? And so I was with my partner, Scott, and I said, hey, I got this weird voicemail. Let's listen to it. And we listened to it, and it was really, really upsetting. It was her calling from the hospital. At that point, he had been unresponsive for a couple hours, and she basically said, Whit's in the hospital. His vitals are all normal and fine, but he's completely unresponsive. And has been for a few hours, like, call me when you can. And then we finally talked and, it was just really upsetting. And we talked about some logistics. Like, you feel really powerless in that moment because what does he have? What does he do? Like, you don't know what your expectations are. You don't know how to feel about it. You don't know if it feels serious, why isn't he responding? Why isn't he waking up? What's going on inside of him? And to be honest, Naomi and I did talk about the show. She's like, do we have episodes ready to go if Whit stays like this for a while? And I said, yeah, we have some in the can. Like, we'll be okay, but we couldn't imagine continuing the show without Whit. Like, that just seemed weird. And it was a weird thing to think about because you don't think about this thing. Like, we're all in our 40s. It's not like people are retiring and you're wondering, what do you do now? What do you do with this commodity? What do you do with this thing that you've been making? Like, we got to make a plan to pass it on to people or systems onto people. None of that is in place. None of that's been thought of or talked about because it seemed so out of God's plan that something would ever happen. So to talk about that and then to get off the phone with her and talk to Scott about it, and then I'm having my own existential crisis, like, what does this mean? Not only losing my friend, but, we would lose This Is Actually Happening, potentially. We would lose Trauma Bonded. Trauma Bonded only exists when this is actually happening. So it felt like everything was like up in the air, and you don't know what to do, and you don't know how to feel about it. I asked Naomi if she wanted me to come. I'm a bit of a drive from Oakland. Probably could have got there in an hour that time of night, but I just made sure that she had people around her and that she felt okay. And she said that she would let me know. And I went to bed about 1, and I wrestled with, do I leave my phone on sleep? Because I had to work in the, there's all this stuff, you don't know how to live. You don't know how to be. And I'm sure people have felt that precarious, like, where are we in our life mode? And I put it back on sleep, but then right before I went to bed, I looked at it and she called me again, and I felt like such an asshole. Damn. I know, this bitch like sending me right to voicemail. And I called back, and I'm going to get emotional. And she put Whit on the phone. Yeah. Actually, what happened was she didn't leave a voicemail. After she didn't get through to me, she texted me and she said he woke up. And it was so exciting. And I called right back, and she put Whit on the phone. And that was such a cool experience, because it is exactly the way he described in the episode. Like, he sounded like a little boy. He was like, hello? Hi. Like, he was just so sweet, and he just sounded like a little kid that had just like woken up from a sleep. And it was exactly the way he described this newness, this being born, this everything is light and love and beautiful. And he was giggly, and it was just like so wonderful to hear his voice. And, immediately I was like, okay, let me go. Call me when you're ready. Because I knew a lot of people were going to be coming for him, know. And I got what I needed. And now I wanted to leave him be and let him get what he needed. And I knew that he would reach out to me when he was ready. And that, I think that even that very next day, he said that we were going to talk, but he ended up just sending me a text sort of like where he was feeling. And then I don't think we actually talked finally until like the next week. And then 2 weeks after that, he refers to Andrew, the other producer on This Is Actually Happening, we sat with Whit and helped walk him through this recording. And honestly, we were really just there for moral support. He kind of had it planned out how it was going to be, but we got to sit there and be with him and let him know kind of what he needed and everything. And then I didn't see him in person until this past Friday, Thursday. Yeah. Oh, there was cool. This Is Actually Happening meetup in Oakland. And when I hugged him, it's like, you could have lost someone and you'll never hug their body or feel them hug you back again. You get to feel that again. And it's so precious and fleeting all at once. And we kind of make fun of people that hug a long time. Mm-hmm. But I hugged Whit for a really long time, to the point where I thought, this is too long. Let it go. I don't want T to judge me. Oh, no. So yeah, it was like a full circle moment in that way. And then to get to help him make this episode and put it out in the world, and now to get to talk about it from the trauma bonded perspective, it's been a lot.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. So I thought, T, unless did you want to say anything about that? Because you got to see him Friday night too.
Yeah, I got to see him too.
And I had told you kind of what he had gone through. What was that like for you to see him again?
It's interesting because I was wondering if he'd be like different now, after an experience like that. And I was really happy to see him. And I wanted to give him a big hug too, because that is really scary.
Yeah.
And really, I had so much fun with him.
Yeah. We had such a great night.
It was such a great night. And like, We were laughing a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like I was checking him a lot.
You like felt like you were observing him a lot?
A little bit.
Just to see if he seemed different?
I don't know. There was a lot, like, I don't know. I was concerned.
Sure.
And as he talks about in the episode, you know, he may be changing in ways he doesn't even know yet. But it's just a great time to laugh with him and, like, be living together, you know?
Totally.
Because that was scary.
Yeah. It's so rare to get to be with someone, because essentially it's not, his body didn't go through a trauma. So it wasn't like he survived something. I mean, his body probably did go through a trauma. He talks about, you know, how he coughed up blood and everything. And that's almost from the intubation itself, not even like the actual sickness. But like his body didn't, it's not like we pulled him out of a house fire and like, and now he's going to be in rehab for 2 years and you don't get to see him again. Like this really immediate, like he's back. Right. It's so rare to feel like you lose someone and then you have them back nearly exactly the way they were.
But it's not it doesn't feel like a physical healing, right? It might be some kind of mental, emotional healing, but it's not something you can see, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, and he talked about how things are like slightly askew with different relationships in his life. And I know that's going to keep showing up in different ways. But to just like be with him and party, like just to have pizza and beer and chill out and laugh,
make fun of each other, which is my favorite,
and reminisce.
Yeah, reminiscing was great.
We reminisced about
how we all met,
and our camping trip,
how we forgot how we actually met. It's fine.
Yeah, it was nice. Let's talk about. Let's make this show not about us. Well, I mean, it is our show. But
this is what he's talking about in his episode.
The shit that
everyone else is having an experience
around his experience.
It happened to me. It actually happened to me.
Yeah, but it did happen to us too.
But he also acknowledges that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the being born, this love state that he talked about. He talks about having an uncanny feeling, like, who am I? Everyone else is looking at me as if they know me, which they do. But who am I?
Who am I? Do I know me?
Yeah. But even in that confusion, he felt pure love. He knew that death doesn't matter, which is such a powerful statement. And he says this is the first time a storyteller popped into his mind, like looking back on this. And he talked about Amanda who got lost in Hawaii. You know, if you remember the episode, and we'll try to put the episodes that he refers to, we'll try to link to in the show notes. Let me tell you this, you guys. If you want to know the episode specifically that he's referring to, I've already done the work on This Is Actually Happening side. It'll be in This Is Actually Happening show notes. So you can go back and look in that. And if you want to take a pilgrimage down the episodes that he referred to, you can do that. Just go to the show notes there. But Amanda was lost in Hawaii, and you're lost and then you get found and you have this euphoric feeling of being rescued. But then you have to deal with all of the fallout that came from that. And you're having a completely different experience than everyone else around you. And people were really pissed at her. She got dragged in the media because it was more like, why'd this stupid girl get lost? What was she doing hiking in this jungle in Hawaii without XYZ? And, you know, once the elation of rescue is over, now it's like, you know, we're in a 24 hours news cycle, so we're going to dissect how this all happened and how we got here. And so people are like, she wasted resources. And so now she can't even like live in the joy of being rescued. She's being dragged to death in the media, you know? So I get what he was talking about. Like, he's got this disconnect because he's just happy to be there, but everyone with him had been like tripping for the last 5 hours. Like, really what the fuck? He's got his brother flying from fucking
France.
That can't be a cheap flight. It's definitely not short, you know. He's got his parents coming from Pennsylvania, like his sister, his nephews, like his whole community was in turmoil.
Yeah. And we find out more in the middle of the episode that what Naomi said when he woke up, like, you're in the hospital.
Yeah.
You're okay. I don't know what the quotes are. But, and I just loved that. It was simple. It was loving. It was supportive. But what he reveals later in the episode is like, he was in that 5th hour and they say, we really get scared at the 6th hour. So what I'm imagining is Naomi is just so
checking the watch,
scared.
Yeah.
At that point, and he wakes up and I can just feel her just like,
yeah.
And just like not show him her fear at that moment and just like make sure that he feels safe.
Yeah. That's such a difficult task to put all of these emotions come flooding out. But you've got this person in front of you that's just a puddle of nothing that doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I thought you were going to die. Like, that's
your eyes open, you're like, ah!
Like, you don't know. You know?
Like the worst surprise party ever. Who is everyone? And why are you?
You're going to die.
You're emotional.
In big danger.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to wake up with someone saying that. So shout out to Naomi.
Shout out to Naomi.
Just like
calm.
You know?
Yeah.
But you know, everyone in that room, up to the moment he opened his eyes,
just pure hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, your brain like goes a billion different directions. And it's just the absolute place of completely helpless and unknowing. To be helpless is like the worst feeling. T, was that 2 days ago now? She rolled. She rolled down her front yard because
rolled down my front yard.
She rolled her ankle and then rides around in her yard, and right away, and I heard her go down. She was behind me, and I heard her go down on the hard stone, and I was like, "T," and she's right away. She's like, "I sprained my ankle. Don't talk to me. I need 2 minutes. Don't talk to me." But I was like, "But."
Then she goes, do you need ice? Should I get Gwen? What about the kids? Do you
need... like, a minute. Don't talk to me. 2 minutes. So I'm just standing there like a freaking sprinkler in her yard, just turning to and fro. She's not even, you weren't even screaming. You're just like just writhing around in the grass.
Out
people are driving by and I'm just
people
like,
walking their dogs.
Yeah, and
they're like, why isn't she helping?
And I'm trusting my friend and standing there and going, okay, she told me to wait 2 minutes. I gotta just stand here and wait, and I can't talk. I can't go get help. I can't. That'd
be so weird if you just left, you know?
Yeah. So I'm just doing what I'm told. For 2 minutes.
No, you asked me all the questions in all the world.
You try standing there helpless. But anyway, long story short, that feeling of helplessness is just an awful feeling.
Right.
And then I thought it was interesting that he right away went, "Where is Diver?" Right? He gave him his name, but he's anonymous for the show. But so we're going to call him Diver. That's what episode 306 that all of you had different reactions to, and as did we. I just want to talk a little bit about this real quick. And this isn't just Diver. This is what Whit does in this work. You know, it's very easy for T and I to come on Trauma Bonded, and sometimes we come for storytellers if we think they deserve it for decisions they made or whatever. You know, what Whit does is so difficult. I think people forget how much time and energy he spends with our storytellers. I do a very brief pre-interview process with them. Sometimes it goes long, sometimes it goes deep. We speak longer than intended because we're in the throes of it. And I leave those conversations like wiped out, like emotionally drained. And that's just a tiny bit of the show. What he does, he sits with these people, sometimes in the interview process for 5 hours, hearing mostly complete strangers pouring out the most horrible things in their lives. And he is sitting there with them. And if you're a storyteller, you know that Whit is such an amazing support. Like he not only is recording you and asking you questions, he's sitting there with you and asking you to lean on him. He's a support. Like he's doing so much wonderful heavy lifting, and he's happy to do it. It's got him this career that he loves, and it's a privilege. I'm not saying it's not a privilege to do it, but it takes a toll on you, because not only that, like after you sit in the interview, then he goes and he edits. So he's hearing it again, sometimes 10 hours of it. So he really does take on so much trauma from other people to make this show happen and to make an episode happen. And he did it by himself for years.
Oh yeah.
For like 9 years, right? And then only because he always had like a nice little following, or started to build a nice little following, but only because, thank you to My Favorite Murder, like getting mentioned, that's when like Wondery came and all the stuff, and he was able to bring me on to help him, and now he has a team of people that help him. But he still does so much. Like he still is the main edit. He still does the final edit. He still does the interviews. And honestly, because of this experience, that might all start to change a little bit. Like, not asking him to take on so much, but he loves it. He loves hearing people's stories and being there for them and getting to like let them tell their stories is such a beautiful gift. Like there's this reciprocity that happens, that we get to air their story and they get the gift of their story being told in this nice, concise, like linear narrative of an hour, with a little bow on top. But it didn't shock me that he saw all of these stories in his recovery, and that all of these experiences culminated in this roadmap for him that he refers to, golden roadmap, of not only what he's about to go through, but how he's going to get through it. So cool.
Yeah. He surrounds himself with all of these storytellers who have their stories of trauma, how they dealt with it.
Yeah.
There's over 300 of them.
And every one of them are a part of him. Truly.
I love how you said a love letter to the storytellers, because you say he listens to them, he empathizes with them, he's there to support, But then it's as if they all were there for him as he was going through this experience. And they really helped him.
Yeah. It's pretty profound.
It's very profound.
It's so meta.
It's
right?
very meta.
All of this is so meta.
It's very meta. It's blowing my mind a lot.
Who am I? Where are we?
When you were saying you had talked to him on the phone.
Yeah.
And hearing the episode and hearing from what he sounded like, it gives it a whole vision. Yeah, that he was like this newborn, giggly, sweet baby. And then he finally got back to Whit mode. Yeah.
He talks about being in this epiphany state and his brain is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And all the feelings and knowings and needing to write it down. It sounds amazing. And I assume it is likened to maybe a manic state, where you're just feeling everything really deeply, but it's painful. It starts to become exhausting, and that's why the crash is so hard on the other side.
You're right. Yeah. It sounds awesome, though.
I know. Just put that in a pill.
With no crash.
Yeah. But it is hard. I mean, we're talking about reciprocity. That is life. That is the world. That is, you can't experience justice without experiencing injustice. You can't have the sun without the rain. You can't have, what did we talk about recently? We were talking a lot about reciprocity. What episode was that? That was Diver, man. He was talking about that. Like, you have to go through this hard shit to know the good shit. It's all part of it. It's not, this is actually happening, because it's not, the hard stuff isn't as ordinary, or we can get used to what we perceive as hard stuff. Like, am I going to be able to pay my rent this month? Like, I got this project due at work. The kids are sick. Like, these little things that are tough, but they're not huge. We just consider them part of life, but it's like the big stuff that it's unexpected. We didn't know it was coming. It's not our day to day. And we all go through them, at least one of them, something hard, right?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time, or not all the time, but so that's why this is actually happening element that he talks about, like that whole, like, it feels like something in a movie, like because you could never have planned or expected to end up in a position like that.
There's so many moments when he talks about there's like a duality throughout, like he felt so confused, but it was also familiar. He felt all this ecstatic love, right? But then with that is grief, life, death. Where are you? You know, what's going on there? There's so many times I had starred so many. It's like feeling isolation, but then also a togetherness.
Yeah. Or community and aloneness.
Yeah, all of that.
Which just seems like opposing forces. Mm-hmm. But it's reciprocity, but we call it contradiction.
Exactly. And then
but I think it's yin and yang.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because they're saying too, like, maybe something happens after the other too. And the thing is, it feels like the way he was talking about things, they can exist at the same time.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a beautiful thing.
But it also makes it heavy. It's hard to digest for people that don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I felt the whole thing. I was like, I hear you.
Yeah. Let's talk about him going into this fear state. Like, and he had trouble sleeping a lot because he thought, if I go to sleep, will I ever wake up again? He likens it to, like, Freddy in your dreams, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, if I fall asleep, Freddy can get me in my dreams. Which is a silly analogy, but that's, again, our generation, anyone that's on this earth now puts their life through the filter of media. Like, we can't help it. We know stories because we hear stories all the time that aren't our own. So, of course, if you're afraid to sleep, any child of the 80s is going to think it's like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Totally.
Freddy's going to get you. And this made him reminisce about when he went through the brain fugue. Mm-hmm. Remember that? Yep. He was having panic attacks and everything. And that, I remember those years when that happened, and that fucked me up a lot about my perception of Whit. Because up until he started experiencing those, I thought of Whit as this, like, unflappable, unmovable, let's talk it out, let's figure it out, like, just solution oriented, just like, I could be an emotional sack of crap in front of him, and he just was like cool, calm, and collected. Like, let's talk it out, it's fine, you know? Yeah. To the point where it was like, shut up, Whit. You guys want to talk about everything and figure it out. Quit making me talk about everything, you know, like that. Yeah. And so when he went through his own shit, I think all of his friends were like, oh, whoa, this is a new version of Whit that we're not used to. But it turns out he is human.
Oh, yeah.
You know, who knew? And him referring to that was like, oh, yeah, like, I kind of forgot that he went through all of that stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
And we called it the brain fugue.
The brain fugue.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like your brain is so fragile. That's about it.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting when he was like, people ask him what he thinks the scariest episodes of This Is Actually Happening are. It's not getting mauled by a bear, which is probably mine.
Oh, really? Is it?
I do not want to be mauled by an animal.
I
no.
also do not want to be mauled by an animal. Maybe part of it is because, like, what is the likelihood of that happening?
Yeah.
Because the likelihood of a brain fugue, I feel, is more likely.
Yeah, like I'm teetering on it all the time.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it could happen to any of us.
Yeah.
I feel like, and with the brain or with the bear maul, I mean, not so much, or the shark attack.
Well, when people you love make you go places like Yosemite, then it feels like it's more possible.
Maybe you can get like a bear spray.
Oh, I'm getting all the bear sprays.
Bear spray. Okay, good. I can't.
We're not camping. We're staying in the hotel, but still.
Oh, thank God.
But that was really interesting. Like, is that okay? What's your scariest?
That scares me too.
The brain stuff, the mind stuff.
Because I felt
being
the airport one.
Yeah.
Like that hit me hard because I felt that way before.
Like having a psychotic break.
Yeah, and then you don't know if you're ever going to come back from something like that. I mean, again, mine was fueled by
drugs,
hallucinogenics, right?
Yeah.
But there was a point when I forgot that I had taken it, and that was the scariest I've ever been in my entire life. So I didn't think I could come back. And it takes a long time. You did it for like 6 to 9 hours, you know, and I went through a whole thing. And if you don't come back from that, you're just a crazy person. Not to be just simplifying like that, but I would not have been able to function.
To fall out of control of your mind, obviously, is a big fear. And that's a real concern. People get Alzheimer's and dementia as they age. It can happen early. Do you ever do that thing where you're like holding something in your hands and you need to throw it in the trash, but you go and put it in the fridge or something like that? And in the moment, you're like, what? It's starting. This is how it starts.
No, that happened to me yesterday talking to you. I was like, oh, it's really hard to clean the fan because you need a mirror. And I was like, what'd I say? What did I just say? You're like, mirror? I'm like, ladder.
But I was like, yeah, I know what you meant.
I know, but that's weird.
I feel like I'm interpreting people's bad brains all the time.
Yeah. You have to deal with it.
She meant ladder. I got it.
That's nice of you. Other people are like, what are you talking about, mirror?
Which you pointed out to me all the time when I misspeak.
Of course, I have to.
Yeah, you must. Got to keep my ego in check.
Yeah, because you know everything.
And done everything. But his big point in this section was he had to let go of the why.
Yes, which he learned from the storytellers.
Right. Over and over and over and over again. Why did this happen to me? Why did this happen, period? We are constantly trying to make sense of things that go wrong in our lives, and we want to know the why. And why do we want to know the why?
That's what it's all about.
I think that we want to know the why so that we can potentially prevent it from happening again, right?
Yes.
If I know the reason why, I can stop it from happening again.
Oh, this happens when I eat fried chicken sandwiches.
Right. Can I accept living with that? Yes, I can, because it's delicious. But at least I know why. Yeah. When it comes to brain stuff, there isn't a reason all the time.
Or maybe there is, but we just don't know it.
We don't know it. Or doctors tell you they know it, and they don't know it.
But not doctors.
Because they're just trying to sign off and get you out the door.
To solve it.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting how he brought back Harv, you know, this aloneness in the ocean, or like thinking you know a place or you know a system. Like Harv thought he knew the ocean, and then all of a sudden he felt like the ocean wasn't what he knew, and it kind of like almost turned on him.
It made me think of Ray.
Oh, go on.
Is that his name, Ray?
I don't know. Tell me more.
The angel who came and saved
Harv.
the
angel. Yeah. In Harv's. Yeah.
Because as Whit was talking, it just made me think.
He's a real person, Yelly. It wasn't an angel. Go ahead.
Well, I was saying an angel.
In quotes. A rescuer that we deemed
It's
angel.
Like a descriptor.
That was more mocking.
Yeah. It's an actual person.
Yeah.
I just got to thinking, like, who is this angel for Whit? Who might save him out of a thing? And it doesn't have to be a who, or it could be an idea.
It's the storytellers.
It's the storytellers.
And the audience.
And the audience.
And he gets to the audience. He does
Yeah.
talk about the audience, because sometimes we're hard on the audience. And he even says we ask a lot of the audience. When we make the show, you turn it on and you start listening, and you might glean a little bit from the title, but you don't know what the fuck you're in for.
I never know what the hell's going to happen.
And we're asking you to just sit and listen and be there
and
in the
ruin
moment.
my day sometimes. Get me thinking about it. I'm just thinking about it. Sometimes
asks a
randomly
lot.
crying.
Yeah.
Like, oh, but I'm at work. I need to be working and not thinking about this.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at my life a different way. I'm looking
Or you're
at my
judging.
children a different way.
Well, that was a stupid decision they made.
Oh, yeah.
Why'd they
that's
do
another
that?
thing,
That was stupid. Yeah.
But we always do that when we watch horror movies, right?
Right.
Stop running and falling.
Yeah.
Stop falling. Why do you keep tripping?
Why'd you run up the stairs? Yeah. Quit tripping.
You know when you have sex, that's when you die. You're the next character to
Yes,
die.
quit having
Everyone
sex
knows
in
that.
the woods. I loved how when he was in his hospital room, and I hope this was left in the main edit. Sorry, guys. He totally loses his cynicism about the planned obsolescence of capitalism.
Sorry.
That was the smartest sentence I've ever said.
Sorry, I fell asleep. Say it one more time in different words.
He was looking around the room being like, these blinds.
Oh, okay, I'm with you now.
These blinds
They
were
were
made.
meant to-
Someone made
oh my
these so the
God.
light wouldn't get in my eyes. Someone cleaned the floor so it wouldn't be dirty. Or someone made these sheets so I'd be warm, or the blankets so I'd be warm, or whatever it is. All these things were made by these passionate, caring people, right? And as he's telling us when he was recording that, I was like, I love how you just totally you had no cynicism about the planned obsolescence of capitalism. Like, they made these things to make money off of you. But his point is still true. The originator, the inventor, the person that came up with it, most likely it was coming from a good place. And then, corporations take it over and just like mass market it and send it to China.
It doesn't work that well.
Yeah.
But the original
he had
reason,
so
the
much
why,
gratitude for the heart of the person that invented blinds, and I think it's beautiful.
I thought it was beautiful as well.
Do you want to talk about Frank from a Zen hospice? That story?
Yeah, we can.
And I don't think I've heard this episode, to be quite
I have not.
honest. But, Frank Ostanicki from Zen Hospice in that episode, he sat with thousands of people and watched them die or transition, sorry. And what he's taken from that experience is at the end of your life, you should think of it in terms of, am I loved? And did I love well?
And that's what it boils down to.
And it isn't about the planned obsolescence of capitalism at all. I mean, that sucks. And it's hurt a lot of people. But am I loved and did I love well? And you guys, I think that's such a wonderful way to face the day, face circumstances. Yeah. You might not know how to solve something in your life, but if you can boil it down to those two things, it's something.
That's what really matters.
He talks about his body as a sack of meat in a tarp.
Sack of meat? It's like, you're making me hungry here, Whit.
That's weird.
Truth, though. That is weird.
And it's weird to be told, like, you were totally unresponsive and we were yelling in your face and like, "Wah, get up."
Totally.
And you're just like,
It's
people are
raining.
telling you physically you were put in a thing and put on a gurney.
Do they usually use a tarp? I guess because it was
raining. What
That's
a
what they
scene.
do.
That's a crazy
That's
scene.
Crazy. And that's, I think, what he was like, real versus movie, or like watching it happen as opposed to experiencing it.
Which is all he's got, is people telling him, like, setting the scene for him. So he's picturing it like, wow, that was me. But it wasn't me. It was just my body. But I was there. It was me. But I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
What about this idea to be seen as porcelain and everyone wants to
They want a time
be with
it.
you? Ironically, porcelain is fragile, but everyone wanted to play with it, which is why porcelain breaks. And I'll toot my own horn right here, because I did see Whit as porcelain, but I said, you know what? Call me when you're ready. And I bowed out because I knew everyone was going to come for him.
Sure. Yeah.
Everyone wanted time with him. Everyone wanted to be in his face. But I was
For
like,
sure, yeah.
You'll just talk to me when you're ready.
Yeah.
So, toot.
It's good. Because you wanted. I'm sure you wanted to be like, Whit, how are you? I want to come. I want to hug. I want to talk.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Why isn't he calling me? Why isn't he calling me? Yeah.
That's the toot. The toot's right there.
Toot.
You wanted to, and you're like, I'm going to step back.
Yeah. Because sometimes you just have to trust your friends. They know what they need. T said, Elly, can you not talk to me for 2 minutes? And I didn't really do that very well, but I did it for like 25 seconds in a row at least. Because I was like, I am going to trust. It almost
felt immediate as soon as I said, can you not talk to me for 2 minutes? Do you want ice? Do you need Glenn? Should I get the kids? So what about Jackie?
Should I call the ambulance?
I was like, why would the dog be here? I don't know. Can I call the ambulance? No, definitely not.
But sometimes you have to trust your friend when they're telling you this is what they need. And even though you want to like wrap them up and give them whatever you think they need, if someone's telling you this is what I need,
gotta believe them.
Believe them. Trust them.
Yes.
Trust the relationship. Trust your friend.
Yes.
Why sourdough bread and butter, do you think?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, it is good.
Again, hungry.
Sourdough bread and butter.
Your wife made me some for breakfast. It was amazing.
Know what it made me think of?
What?
Scott, like,
and his Cheerios?
And his Cheerios. Like, I need to bring this with me to dinner. Yeah. Like, I just thought, like, Whit is going to, like, eat Mexican food with his parents, and he's like, just a big loaf. And so, like,
just need to coat my stomach first.
Sorry, I don't know. I don't know either.
I don't know why. Yeah. T's referring, my partner Scott, he has Cheerios before and after meal. He thinks of it as like a primer and a final coat for his meal. It just makes him feel better.
Physically, I mean, it's good for his stomach. It makes his stomach
feel
good, right? So that's great.
And to be quite honest,
believe him.
If I'm ever like, I feel a little unsettled, he's like, have some Cheerios. And I'm like, okay. And it does help every time.
Yeah.
I think there's two things still I want to talk about. That he refers to stories of people that have accepted their deaths, and then they have a calm and a peace, and then they're rescued and brought back. And now the trauma of like kind of almost getting rescued happens. And again, you can find those stories in the show notes. This is actually happening. So the trauma is coming back, which is just crazy because of the way a movie ends is rescue, hugs, tears, credits. You don't see the aftermath of what they deal with once all of that elation of rescue has happened. And then he talks about this a lot. So it's his story, and he's dealing with everyone putting their interpretations on him, their shit on him, telling him that he's got spiritual... What was that? Someone said he's got like demons in his house, and this is the way you should deal with it.
It's definitely not that.
It's definitely not that. But just, we have such a hard time with just going... That happened. That's crazy. Whoa, that's insane. Why can't we just say that and just go, okay, let's go have pizza? That was crazy.
I feel like I can do that.
I do too, but
I mean,
people are constantly wanting to understand the world, and that's totally normal and natural.
I mean, that was my initial, when you told me about it, I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
What, like, in my brain, I wasn't asking you. In my brain, I was just like, all these explanations instead of like,
I'm glad he lived.
Well, of course, that was the first thing.
And like, that was crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe.
Yeah. But everyone was always like trying to think, because like you said, we want to know the why so we can prevent it from happening again.
Or we want to know the why so it doesn't happen to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God, really? That happens when you eat that many peas?
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely not.
I've had enough peas. Thank you. I know what happens.
But I know what happens when I eat sourdough.
Hell yeah.
I'm doing that.
I'm feeling it right now. Do you have anything else, T?
I mean, there's a lot that kind of brought it all together about how to live your life. Think about, a lot of, when you're when something happens to someone, they make a mistake, something, a lot of times we're very quick to judge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or again, like we're saying, there must be an explanation, something, or whatever, or why did this happen? They made some sort of mistake. They, whatever.
Right. Certainly they've done something to bring this upon themselves. They've certainly
done something, and it's usually wrong.
Yeah.
And
Grace, that's what he's talking about.
Exactly. When I get mad at a stranger or some whatever is going on,
yeah,
it's these people who are able to be okay, there's something going on. They must be having a bad day. Just having empathy for something unknown, I think is really a great way to be.
Oh, that's good. Empathy for the unknown.
Yeah. Give people grace. Give yourself grace. I love that too.
And I think it is easier for us to have empathy and grace for people that we know and say that we love. I think it's more difficult for people that we don't know or we perceive as other or we perceive as different or we put in a box, we call them, hey, boomer, whatever. We have or MAGA, whatever, we have these boxes that we put people in and we don't think we could ever find common ground and we don't give them any grace or empathy. We just write them off.
Yeah.
And we need to do more grace and empathy work everywhere, all the time, with strangers all the time.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to take that away from this.
Yeah, me too. We'll see how long it lasts.
First off, I want to take away that I think you, me, and Whit need to go to the Cheesecake Factory as soon as possible.
Ooh, yes.
Another takeaway, definitely grace, and then am I loved, and did I love well?
Did I love well?
Think about that at the end of my day.
Me too. We love you, Whit.
We love you, Whit.
This was very food-centric, surprisingly.
It was my fault. I think I'm hungry. I haven't eaten this morning, so.
IF, baby. Thank you for listening. This has been an episode of Trauma Bonded. You can find our show where podcasts are kept. If you like us, please rate and review us on Apple or other places. Don't let the task overwhelm you. And we want to say we're seeing your reviews show up.
Oh, thank you to. Let me check.
No, we don't have time.
Okay, you do it.
But we've seen you say like it, love it, wants more of it. We've seen you say, Elly T, we hate the ads. We hate the ads too. But you give us 5 stars and you say we hate the ads. And yes, that's gold. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Ski77. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it.
Look, we're up to 3.5 in Apple.
Oh my God.
That was so low for so long. And thanks to Whit, our benefactor, for sharing their story and giving us the opportunity to talk about it. And thanks to This Is Actually Happening team, including Whit.
Oh my God.
And Andrew Waits, and the maker of our music and website, Nathaniel Tromboli. And thanks to Bella for editing this episode, and Katie Capel for building those blasted Instagram posts. Love you, Katie. You can contact us at traumabondedpod@gmail.com and find us on Instagram at traumabondedpodofficial or visit our website at traumabondedpod.com. We are trauma bonded to the story, to everybody. We're bonded to everybody. To the story, to the storyteller, to Whitney, Dr. Whitney Missildine, to the listeners and to each other. Thanks for spending time with us today.